Thank you for listening to the
This is where we do live. We have bloopers all over the place. Hey everybody, if you've never watched the Quiet Warrior Show, we're starting. We're not ending.
Warrior Show, where we help top leaders find their pathway to incredible success and a lifetime of happiness. Here is your host, Tom Dutta, the Quiet Warrior.
Hey everybody, Tom Dutta, the Quiet Warrior. I'm embarrassed, so I'm going to cover myself up there. Oh, what's that? We've been rated by FeedSpot twice in 2 years as a top Canadian leadership podcast. I put that up there because I was blushing. I was telling our guest who's in the green room, you'll hear from him in a moment, that sometimes I hit the wrong buttons in the studio, and it hasn't really happened before. And there it was, played the wrong music. Welcome to the Quiet Warrior Show. Tom Dutta like butter. And Thanksgiving down in America just finished. Lots of butter in those turkeys. I'm pretty sure of that. I'm so excited. The show is growing, and I have to thank all of you for that. We are booked out till, well, I won't say months because we don't want to date this show. Booked out 4 months with a wait list. Every Wednesday I'm in studio here, and we're getting guests coming to us from all over. And we didn't start that way, and most of it's because of you. So we're live streaming. What does that mean? It's the next generation. We're leveling up, which means we right now are on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble, one of my favorite new feeds. You can chat with us, put a comment in the field. If you can see it, we'll put it on screen, maybe share it with our guest, and he can talk about it too. So let's have a lot of fun. We got a new segment today as well. We're going to surprise you with that, so stay right till the very end. We also have a couple surprises for our guests, as we always do. I'm just checking the leaderboard here, everybody, and those who are in the studio virtually, the audience, I can see how many people are watching, and I can tell you that this is going to be a blockbuster show. I'm not embellishing it because we have more people live now watching than we've had usually in our live stream. So that means our guest has a few people he knows. I'm just going to take something off the screen. I had a message come in. I was going to put it on the screen, but it's from a gamer. He's a gaming guy. He says, "Hello, sir." So maybe we'll put that on the screen later. So let's get rid of that there. All right, everyone. Now, when we're live streaming, you're going to get all the bloopers and live happening, and then we will clean it up later. What you're going to see us do with this is it'll be reproduced pretty much as it is and just out as a podcast across 14 different podcast feeds and a YouTube video premiere. So let's get started. What would it be like to hook you so you stayed for a while? Before he ever wrote a word about momentum, Chip Higgins was a kid who didn't know how to use his own voice, a boy who grew up mastering silence, a young man who carried shame so heavy that it wrapped around his throat like invisible wire. And then one day in a classroom at UNC, in front of 35 of his peers, that shame rose up and swallowed his voice completely. His throat closed. His breath vanished. His presentation collapsed and the room went silent. This moment didn't define him. It revealed him. Because in the ruins of that collapse, something ancient inside him began to stir. An instant, a knowing, a whisper saying, "This is not who you are meant to be." That whisper led him to Toastmasters. That room became his forge. Every speech, a crack in the shell. Every failure, a release of pressure. Every breath, a rebirth. And slowly, the boy who lived in silence found his voice. Not the polished voice of a banker, not the confident voice of an executive, but the true voice of a man who finally understood that everything he had lived through had been shaping him. Years later, when Chip sat down to write The Bizzics Way, and I have the book right here with me, he wasn't writing a business book. He was writing his identity, his reinvention, his energetic blueprint for how people rise when their past tries to hold them down. He was writing physics written as psychology, movement written as resilience, momentum written as truth. Today, Chip joins me here in Plato's Garden, where we strip away personas and talk about who we really are. We explore the frictions that slow us down, the collisions that wake us up, the energy that drives us forward, and the stories behind our public work that no one usually sees. If you're an entrepreneur, a leader, or simply someone who knows there is more inside you than the world has seen, stay with us. You're about to hear the origin story behind a man who who discovered that sometimes the only way to find your momentum is to tell the truth about what stopped it. So hopefully you'll stay a while. Welcome, Chip Higgins. Welcome, Chip.
Tom, thank you so much for having me on. It's really an honor to be on your show.
What was it like sitting there listening to you?
I'm not afraid to say I felt just a little bit emotional.
Yeah. No, it's great to have you here. Now, in researching you, I think the name's Christopher. What's the origin of Chip? Were you a woodchucker?
That's a good story. I'm a Irish American, and my mother loved the name Christopher, but she had a lot of girlfriends named Chris, and she was Christine, or and so she got a little paranoid about gender mix-up type stuff, and she hung Chip on me the day I was born. So I've been Chip ever since. I'm not a junior. I'm not, I'm just Chip.
Well, it kind of grows on you. I love it. It has a nice ring to it, and also looking good on this book that you wrote. But hey, Chip, are you ready to go into Plato's Garden and have some fun?
I am. Yeah, I'm excited about it, Tom. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to put something on the screen here, everyone. Who's on the audio, you might not see it, but those on video, there it is. So let me just set this up, and then we'll get rolling. What would it be like to be in Plato's Garden with Chip Higgins? Well, here we are. Chip, for the audience and for you, let me tell you Plato's Garden. Plato was an Athenian philosopher during the classical period in ancient Greece. You can kind of see him on the screen there, walking and talking with Aristotle. And that was the founder of the Platonist school of thought and the academy, apparently the first learning institution in the Western world. So what we're going to be doing, and you may not even know this, but we're not going to be talking heads just asking you questions and I'm quiet. We're going to weave your story through three areas, Chip. One is macro, two is mezzo, three is micro. So macro is what was happening in the world around you, the global arena, as you created your public works. Mezzo is what was happening in your sector where you do your work. And three, micro, my favorite, is what was going on with you personally. And some will take us back right to their childhood. And if we mesh all this together, the thoughts we hear from Chip, everyone, we find out the influences of context. It's called critical thinking. We have thoughts about our thoughts, just like you see them doing on the screen there. So let me take that off there and let's get going. I'm going to throw out something for you. So you wrote in your show fit answer that this shame thing shaped your early life. When you look back, what is the earliest moment you can remember that taught you to stay silent?
I think, I guess my first real childhood memory is getting a toolkit for Christmas when I was about 4 years old, and jamming the screwdriver into an electrical socket. And there was really no concern for my safety, but a lot of concern for embarrassment that a child would do something like that in front of the gift giver.
Goodness gracious.
So I think, that's just the kind of thing that you just become reticent about living or doing anything.
Yeah, we all have those moments. I had a fellow that I interviewed. He actually was a president of a bank up here. It's funny, you have a banking background. And we were talking, and I said, what's that one thing that drives you? And he said, we're always standing on the shoulders of greatness of others, but he says, I have that one thing, I call it a chip on my shoulder. He's thinking about what, that's your Chip story, the screwdriver in the socket. Pretty amazing. So at UNC, your voice, as the story was told, embellished maybe a bit, voice collapsed under pressure. Looking at that moment now, who were you trying to be, and who were you afraid you were?
Gosh, I mean, I think, my childhood history, I mean, that story kind of goes back to just being in a family of five and the middle child, and, just having all the classic middle child symptoms of maybe being invisible was a better way of making it. And I didn't have a lot to say. I didn't really know how to say a whole lot. I think I was called out for being shy. You can call it shy, but I think it's more just fearful about yourself making mistakes and that type of thing. So I think by the time I got to UNC, I was about 25 years old, that I had engineered a way to make it. I didn't talk a lot. I think I was very achievement oriented, and I always tried to do well in school. That was a big thing for my parents. Education was big, and it was another big shaming thing of just report cards and that type of thing. So I think who I was trying to be is someone that would fit into a lane that deep down inside I didn't really feel qualified for. It was a top 10 business school at the time. Dean Rizzo had come from IBM, and the school was on the move, and honestly I couldn't believe I got in. I mean, I was just like, and there, like any school like that, there's some really serious heavyweight people in it, and
Sure.
I felt like this is a great opportunity for me to grow, and I'm not going to give up on it. But I feel like deep down there are all these lingering questions and kind of poor opinions about myself that I'd somehow navigated up to that point in my life. And I think that moment in that little theater where I was asked to lead the class, it's a hard rock bottom hit of, just the reality coming up of like, this is something in your life you're going to have to master if you want to move forward. And, you can either give up right now and just not take on the challenge, or what's the next best step to solving for this, because it's an important skill in corporate America that you need to master. So
Absolutely.
Thankfully, I had a lot of support with my wife, and I think I did what I needed to do at that time. And honestly, Toastmasters was awesome, but I look back on it as just kind of the first step of many painful things I needed to endure to beat it. It's like, are you going to beat the dragon or not?
Well, you're so well-rounded. We're going to get into a lot of business talk, but we're here in Plato's Garden in the micro, which is about you. And I think this is one of the most important parts of your story. Let me just riff on this, that I was just doing my doctorate degree and my research about identity. And I've learned that the more I can see you, I can see myself through you. And so the more we reveal of ourselves, we can be seen, and we can connect to other people. And so just that one part of your story actually lit me up, man. I mean, I see it as a story of something that is in reverence to you. Toastmasters is kind of cool. I'm a Toastmaster. I'm not sure if we shared that offline.
No, we have so much in common, Tom. It's kind of crazy, all the connection points that we've learned.
Well, and my Toastmasters experience, it came in a different way. I had my concussion. I fell on my head and was really seriously injured. And I was invited to go to Toastmasters. I didn't want to go. I thought, I can't do this. My words weren't coming out. I was still not well yet. And I went in, and it was the best thing I did, because I got to, the drill. But those who don't know Toastmasters, it's kind of branded as where leaders are made. But and I went in to brag, but there's my Distinguished Toastmaster plaque.
All right.
And believe it or not, I had to do 52 speeches while I was concussed and not able to speak and see properly. They felt sorry for me or whatever. Oh, man. Just one more thing on what you said. So this thing about the middle child and shyness and whatnot, I encourage everybody to do critical thinking, go out there and do some research, because there's a lot of people who say that, right? I was shy. But there's a personality science behind some of this shyness, and there's certain people who are wired that their motive in life is peace. In other words, they're not just shy and quiet, but that their brains are overactive, they're creative, but they're highly they go to a place where they can be quiet, where they can experience life in a different way. So thanks for sharing that. What's your wife's name?
Barbara.
Barbara, we honor you for. He's certainly not a shy guy. He's got a lot to say. UNC, for those who are around the world, what's the acronym there for UNC?
It's the flagship university in North Carolina, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and now it's the Keenan Flagler School of Business. It got named after.
Gotcha. Yeah, awesome. And what did your mom and dad do as you were growing up? What do you remember? Did they have vocation, profession?
Yeah, my dad was in the textile industry. I was born up in Boston, and he was with Carter's infant wear, and we moved to Winston-Salem, North Carolina in 1969 for him to join Hanes Knitwear.
Sweet.
And my mom had about a 2-year stint in 2 or 3 year stint in banking up in Boston at State Street. But after they started having kids, she's kind of the classic 1950s, 60s, 70s mom. But
that's right.
When the 70s came on with Virginia Slims and the power of the woman, she was back at work by the time I was in the 7th or 8th grade. So she worked mostly in retail. But he was in the textile. He went from Hanes to actually in on the ground floor of Nike, their apparel division. He was helped to get that started up, and had a lot of fun doing that.
That's really cool. It sounds like she's a great lady. And who do you think shaped you the most in your beliefs, or did they both equally, your mom or dad?
I think they were pretty equal. I think from my dad, I think it was more aspirational, educationally in particular. I think my mom was a very social person, and she grew up in public housing in Cambridge, and Irish family in public housing in the Depression, and learned tremendous amount of generosity and giving from her. I mean, I think that's kind of characteristic of people that live in those environments. And she was just always giving, always had a meal prepared, and actually had gifts given to me that she decided to give to cousins later. She felt like maybe they'd be better served with what she got me. So it kind of,
I think they call it.
It can get to a fault level. All the giving. Yeah.
Maybe there's a thing called regifting. Maybe that's part of it.
But she's just a very social.
Interesting. Yeah. No, that's great. My dad was a commanding officer in the military. Raised me as an Army brat. Mom was sort of looked after the 3 boys growing up. I have a brother who's a year older and one 5 years younger. And I think she worked the hardest because she had to raise 3 boys, and she did custodial work as well. So, I mean, now I look back and I think about how I turned out. I would say she's a lot of shaping from my mom. Let's put another view on the screen here as we're getting further into Plato's. There's something cool on your back shelf there. It's a book. You want to hold that up for us?
Yeah.
I'm going to full screen you. Just read out the title.
It's called the Bizzics Way: Powering Your Small Business to Maximum Momentum, and
awesome.
published by Forbes.
Yeah.
My little opus.
Yeah, it's so we're totally. I'm going to put something else on the screen here so you can see that that's my action cam and the other camera. Everybody, I'm really excited because Chip is such an honorable man. He personally signed one for me. So Chip, this is now going to go in the back of the studio in the pile back there. Those are all the books I've read of guests, and they will stay there for perpetually.
Well,
so I'm
thank
really
you. Thank you for that. It means a lot to me.
You're welcome. Very honored. Just checking the studio. Some comment came in here. I don't know. Do you know? Do you know a G. Yonkis?
No.
Okay. Somebody put a comment, Grandpa, have a good day, Grandpa. No idea what that means, but thank you anyway. I'll just take that back off the screen. Yeah, so what I like about the book, there's so many things, but I wanted to ask you, I'm holding this up to my other camera close. The cover is beautiful. Just explain the design on it. Yeah,
so the cover really captures a momentum, a physics principle of momentum, which is what the book is about. So I mean, you have a marble moving down a chute with some centrifugal force, I guess it is.
Yeah.
But it just kind of demonstrates this idea of motion and business and in life, and kind of hopefully gets people to stop and think about how they're moving, where they're moving. Yeah,
it comes in a great wrapper. So for those who are authors, you'll know this, but the outer jacket. But what's really cool is when I take the jacket off, look at that. It's beautiful too.
Yeah, eye-grabbing.
It's eye-grabbing. And a lot of books actually aren't like that. The people don't spend the money, so you just get a blank inside cover. So we're going to get into talking about that a lot. Chip even sent this. Whoever does your marketing, you've done a great job. A little thing there, bookmark, but on the back, QR codes everywhere, which accesses a lot of extra material from the book. So let's get into this. We're going to go into Mezzo now, which is the sector focus on where you've done your public work. So Chip, you built momentum inside systems where friction is constant. And what were the forces in banking and business that either amplified or suppressed your true voice?
I think getting into banking was an amplification. I think
Yeah.
that career choice came fairly early in my life. I grew up in a banking town in Winston-Salem, and I saw a lot of things in it that I felt like were true to myself. You know, it takes a certain level of intellect to be a good banker, but personal relationships and community building, just kind of the holistic view of the world that it's not always about profit. You know, it's about how everybody's doing. And I still believe that to this day. I think that the friction or the holdback for me in banking, giving my background and, you know, is probably at least 20 years into banking before I started getting therapy and working through, you know, what was really the fundamental part of all the communication things that I had. I didn't really understand it. I was just hoping to be able to squeak some words out when I was in front of people. But, you know, as you know, it's a lot more than that. But, you know, it's a very hierarchical and, you know, for lack of a better term, political environment. And there's a lot of layers in banks. And I think my challenge was, given what my internal world was like, how I navigated that to a place where I could support myself and a growing family. And, you know, that was a lot of heat and tension for me internally, trying to figure out how I was going to do that with the limitations that may have not been apparent to everybody around me, but I knew that I had. And, you know, there are a lot of challenging situations along the way. In the end, you know, I don't think, you know, I never got to a C-level position, but I felt like I held very, you know, levels with a high level of responsibility, and ended up serving people that I really believed in and wanted to help. So, you know, I think that it all works out in the end. But I think the hierarchy and just kind of the sassiness of a big ego, you know, elbowing the way up was not the easiest thing for me to do.
Hey man, again, the threads in our stories. So I told you offline, but for the audience who many may not know this, but you know, prior to starting my own platform here of podcasting and education and all that, I was a banker for probably a third of my career. Worked for the largest, one of the big 5 Canadian banks. Met my wife there. We've been married 30 years coming up. And so I remember back then, man, everybody showed up in a suit and tie. It was so stuffy and so corporate like. And I recognize what you said, the layers, you know, and then things kind of change. What were you in the retail or the commercial side of the bank?
Yeah, I started in retail. I mean, that was my first stop. I think it took me 18 months to 2 years to realize that I had a lot more to offer than that.
For sure.
And I don't mean that negatively toward anybody in retail banking. I just felt like my skill set was, once they taught me how to analyze the commercial credit, I really felt like that would be a great use of my time. And it took me a little while to navigate to that, but that was a very short, I mean, all in all, probably not even 4 years out of 40 was spent in retail, but it's where all the best stories are. I'll tell you that. Retail is great for the stories and the people, but that's where I fell in love with small businesses. You know, I think that time in retail banking, it is a big part of branch life, is mom and pop businesses that come in, and there's a certain humanity to that level of capitalism that's very attractive to me, and I think that's ultimately what I felt called to serve.
Yeah, for sure. We called it, when I was in the bank up here, I started in retail, went up that side, but then, you know, there were silos in our banking system. You couldn't have wealth management and insurance. The trust companies had will and estate planning. So then the rules changed. It all came together. And I started going down the commercial side just as a retail lender. They wanted us to do what was called Main Street, which is the small business. And man, you know, you're a smart guy. I think probably smarter than me in some ways, because my brain would lock up when I looked at analysis and calculations. It's just not how I'm wired. I was a good lender, but I think I agree with what you said. A lot of relationships I was left with the bank. And then on the commercial side, that's fascinating to me. We're going to put your book back up on the screen here. And again, tell us why you wrote the book. I think there's a connection to what you said about trying to help small business or business folks, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think you know, I was in banking for, I guess it was about 35 years when I finally got the kind of the call internally to found Bizzics. And I think what was on my heart was watching people with great aspirations for their lives get into trouble. And, even at that point, it's still the same, like people are investing all their energy, all their savings into something that the statistics would tell you it's a 50-50 proposition. And I don't know, I'm probably a little bit idealistic. I had a professor I wrote a paper one time at Carolina, and he told me I was a bit Pollyannish. So, I kind of admit that sometimes I'm a little too optimistic, but I just felt like there's something missing from just kind of the curriculum or what's on the shelf for a small business owner. And I kept coming back to this idea of momentum. I mean, it's what everybody desires in life and in business, that you're moving towards something. And I ultimately just got obsessed with it. Honestly, I was just like, well, why do people keep saying this, and do they even understand what it means? I don't know, but I felt like it was one of the simplest equations in high school, and I was like, if I can prove that this holds true, what a great wrapper for a small business owner to think about and drop whatever idea, whatever thought leader that they want to drop in on things like energy or direction or, whatever it is. Like, it's so memorable and easy to communicate to people that it's got to have some level of benefit toward taking that 50% down to 48 or ideally, I hope it's like 3 to 5%. But, I think that was really the motivation. And it's just, I think the love and respect for the people I met along the way, everything that they put on the line, and the way they approached work and employees, and what a commitment it is to people you hire, to have that level of care and concern to keep a business going because you're paying people. I mean, it's just
for sure.
It's an awesome responsibility that I felt like at that point in my life I had something to give back, and that's just kind of how it started growing.
Oh, I feel that energy. One of the things, I just hold the book up, that copy of it here. There's Chip having signed it for me, and it's kind of cool because under your name it says Chip, and then it's got a little formula: P equals MV. Keep moving. I love it, and you really, yeah, exactly. And everyone, as you watch Chip on the screen, and he was talking about Chip, you can watch this back live again. You see the inflection in your body language, and you embody the emotion around your work, which I think is great. Let's get back into Plato's. I'm going to throw this out at you. The Bizzics model, it's a catchy word, by the way. You can explain it. The Bizzics model uses physics as a metaphor. Correct me if I'm wrong. Why physics? Why momentum? Why mass and force? What do those metaphors express that traditional business frameworks perhaps never could?
Yeah, so I'll first, if I have time for this, I'd like to tell you about the name Bizzics, because people
please
always ask about it. And I had this idea that this is a simple paradigm to remember, but I couldn't really figure out what to call it. And my wife and I were listening to a podcast with Sarah Blakely from Spanx, and they were asking her about how she came up with the Spanx name. And I don't know who it was that she was listening to, but she said, the best advice I ever got was on a brand name was it should be no more than 7 letters. If you can get a double letter in there, that's really helpful. And if you can make it buzz or click, you got it made. So it's the physics of business. So that's how we come up with Bizzics. It's the physics of business. Thank you for that.
It is awesome. I thought maybe you had a glass of scotch and you slurred and the publisher
was totally sober when it happened, Tom.
Yeah, that's too funny. Yeah, it's very clever.
So, I think that as I pursued this, I needed it to be validated by somebody, I called a good friend of mine, Marcus Mendenhall. He's Caltech physicist, and he gave me more time than I deserved, honestly. I mean, guys, he's just very accomplished. He was a physics professor at Vanderbilt when I knew him, and we were leading scout troops together. Yeah. But he spent a couple hours with me, and we just broke down the equation. I mean, it's mass times velocity, and how does that really manifest itself in a business world? And I'm guilty of saying it's not a metaphor. Most people I talk to say this is a nice metaphor, but I I really embrace the universality of these principles until we meet a different time dimension that it's disproven. I think that momentum is momentum. You know, it's in life, it's in physics, it's in business.
Yeah.
And I think that probably comes through in the book. But you know, we broke it down, and the more that I talked to Marcus, you know, he was not being in the physical world. I don't think he was totally keen on, you know, I hate to use the word bastardize, but kind of diluting maybe is a better word, a fantastic formula like this for something like business. But I just found so much truth in it personally.
Yeah.
And,
No,
the book flowed very easily after that conversation. You know, it was very based on the life, you know, the career experience that I'd had.
Sure.
I feel like we were able to make a good representation of it for business owners. And, you know, after the fact, I do think there's a population of business owners that are not totally locked on to wanting momentum or wanting to grow. You know, I think there's a certain level of complacency after the big risk is taken that you're willing to settle. And I mean, that's a whole other inflection point for me to communicate this, because once you reach that point, you're really losing ground automatically. You know, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward in a relative world. So I've been really pleased at the response to the book. I enjoy talking about it, and I've had a number of conversations that started off a little bit shaky, honestly. It was kind of like, you know, tell me about this metaphor. And you know, the more we talk about it, it's like, you know, things start clicking. So I can't say, you know, this. I think this is the tricky part for me about, you know, wanting to be authentic and bring something new and different.
Yeah.
I don't think that this has been kind of communicated or categorized in the way that I've consolidated all this into the Bizzics Way.
Yeah.
But I don't think that, I also think that, you know, some of the things that people talk about are universal, that may appear to be a new idea, but they're not. You know, so, I mean, I feel like we're kind of getting to the absolute root of things that people talk about. And it's kind of like, you know, I love Simon Sinek, but, you know, when you start talking about the why,
yeah,
it's an energy field. I mean, it's a vibrational force, which is, you know, the very first chapter in the book is about energy and,
for sure,
how energy is created. So, and I think, you know, that was a hope of mine as the book came together, is that I can be a little bit agnostic about the big thought leaders that you follow, you know, whether it's, you know, storytelling or, you know, the why or culture or whatever, but it's a way to put all that together where you can understand the importance of it. And it's not just a faddish approach to say culture is important today, or, you know, there's some flavor of the day in the 10,000 business books that are out there that you follow that, but you miss the big picture.
For sure.
And, I think if you can weave your favorites into this theme, it'll be very successful for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to put another camera back on the screen here. Let's see if it changes around a little bit. Just hold on a second there. Try that one. Maybe I'll just go back here. Yeah. So I've got the book in the studio here, and I'm just going to brag on it. Congratulations on writing the book. I think you know, I'm a fan of neuroscience, and in the brain, I think about what happens in the brain. You've organized information in a way, acronyms the brain can think in systems. What I like about it is the way you organize it. I could learn faster. And I think the book has some really good nuggets in it. Like everybody, if you see through the camera here, what he's got here is these QR codes are everywhere. It says in your lab, and then there's a QR code if you put your camera up that, well, actually, why don't we do this? I'm going to actually do it live.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we're going to actually see if it works. Okay. So I'm just I have my phone here, and I'm going to click. Okay. Check this out, everybody. All right. So there it says, welcome the Bizzics Way resources. Okay. So I'm just going to turn this upside down so I can use my other hand. Check this out. Okay. It says, thank you for taking time to read the Bizzics Way. It's very well put together. I'm going to be honest with you and brag about this. I've read hundreds of books, business books. This one is in the top 1% about how it's put together and organized. And I'm not saying that just because you're.
That makes a lot of sense.
So if you look at here, like in my country, 93% of the economy is fueled by small business entrepreneurs. They're the ones who hire people. It's not the big corporations where you and I started our career, the banking. And when I started my own business, there was a lot of small pieces. And even after all the corporate training I had and experience as an executive, I didn't have the small pieces. My vision, my values, my business plan, my SWOT analysis. How do I actually put all this together? What about how do I treat my people? And look at this, everyone. As you scroll down, it says the business energy check gets started. So let's just play with that. So I'm going to click on that. And what comes up is business energy check.
Thank you for doing this, Tom. Honestly, I've never had anybody reveal all the resources, and I'm very, very, very proud of it. And I think it does go back to my mother about generosity.
That's very cool.
I wanted this book to be something that was truly helpful to people, and there's begging for more. Yeah.
No, it's that good. I'm an author, and I know books. So if you click on the Get Started, I'm just going to be the last screen. It says Business Energy Check, and there's 15 questions, and you answer the questions, and then guess what happens when you're done the survey? This happens. Let me just remove that. You get a report. And there's the report. I bet you didn't know I was going to do that.
I didn't. Okay,
so this is
doing me a total solid today, Tom. I can't believe.
I know, and it's okay.
So, good, helpful for me. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want you to be able to use the show to repurpose it. We'll do viral little clips and things. But check. I'm just going to brag for one more thing on this, and then you talk to us. So look, everyone. I went and I did the business energy check. I went, what the hell? I've been in business a long time as my own, but after doing the 15 questions, it gives me all this stuff, communicating progress, and then it gives me considerations, my vision clarity, imagining the possibilities, assessing how employees live out their core values, etc., welfare of my target market, empowering employees to make decisions. So I'll take that off the screen, and I'll say something and ask you to comment on it. I gathered that it's so well put together when I answered the questions where I answered them with maybe a gap or two, it used its own analytics and gave me my report, but says, based on what you said, here's some areas where maybe you can develop, and then there's more behind it with the book and with your work. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thought.
That's it, right?
I just think throughout that resource center, and that, I think that QR code takes you to about 20 to 25 tools. And again, I think we hear a lot about these tools, but how does it weave into the idea of building and sustaining momentum? I think that's the key. But I love that energy check. It's one of my favorite things. And that energy chapter is the first. You can't have momentum without energy. And energy in business is a multi-dimensional thing that we often don't think about. I mean, sometimes we think about it's how we feel when we wake up in the morning. And it's got a lot of other tentacles to distribute, to find energy sources. I mean, a lot of different things. So it's really a foundational check. And I absolutely love being able to provide that to people. Business plans, there's a marketing plan, there's SWOT, there's a great competitive advantage tool in there to think about, where you fit into the market. And that's what I want is, people have a framework and they have the tools and they can navigate a lot of this on their own. And that's another beef of mine, not to denigrate, coaches and consultants and that type of thing. But, for I don't know how it is in Canada, Tom, in the United States here, I bet 90% of the businesses here are under $1 million in revenue.
It's consistent. I think that's consistent. Yeah.
So you just think about, where does somebody go? And I think at that level of business, people are so capable of solving things on their own with good information and good ideas. And sometimes we give up and buy an idea off the shelf.
Yeah.
And it's not a fit. You're going to know yourself and your business better than anybody, and what's going to work, and who you are, what your style is.
Absolutely.
And, I put a lot of confidence in that. I think as a coach myself, people taking action on their behalf and owning it is absolutely critical to moving forward in life.
For sure. No, it's a great thing.
And thank you so much for showing that. Honestly, this is the second time I've gotten a little choked up looking at that because I absolutely love that energy check. It's one of my favorite things.
There he goes again. Chip being Chip, getting all emotional about his work. And by the way, you said something before when we were talking about the word Pollyannish. Somebody said that about your optimism. I totally disagree with what people say, because I know that the brain can't have a positive and negative thought at the same time. You're talking to a guy who broke his brain, had to recover. But in business, tell me what if I'm right or wrong. We want to be innovative. We want to come up with new ideas, like the new segment I'm going to show you today on the show. And the only way I can get there is by positive thinking, by getting into that part of the brain. And so your book is written in that tone. I mean, it is moving forward. When I read it, it is such a really amazing thing, because it's making me, when I went through the book, it made me more positive about, hey, I can do this, because I've hit some walls in my own business. So just comment on that.
Yeah, I just, I don't want to get too cosmic, but I just think that to me, entrepreneurship, small business ownership is as much a spiritual discipline as it is a financial. And we have this unbelievable ability for ideation as human beings, and the things that we think about. Sometimes we dismiss great ideas. We don't want to take it on. Where in the book I talk about potential energy versus kinetic energy, and I just feel like the world is a richer place if you have faith in the change that you're trying to bring about in the world. The people, ideal customer, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there's some group of people that that you're equipped to help better than anybody today, and that motivates me so much. Just the becoming of a person into something tangible that is fruitful for society and for the people, people living in it is,
for sure.
It's a huge draw for me. And I'm not going to stop being Pollyannish. I mean, probably the only person I'm not Pollyannish about is myself. It goes back to my shame stuff, but that's how I like to view the world. It's a world of possibility. I truly believe that.
No, and I think that they say that you can't teach, you can catch the energy. Energy and momentum is caught, it's not taught. And so when you're around somebody like you're a coach. Explain to everybody just succinctly, if you can, what a coach is. And I think you're part of a program, or you're certified as a coach.
Yes, yeah. I became a John Maxwell follower probably 2001. Somebody introduced it to me. I'd never heard of John, and we did the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, and it affected me, and I took it upon myself to start sharing it with people. I mean, I bought I still have the box here in my closet. I bought a VHS set, and I would do it at work. I'd do it with anybody that could listen, because I felt like it was very uplifting. And ultimately, he started a team of coaches, speakers, and trainers. I joined it in the first round as a founding member. And what I've learned and love about coaching is that drawing out of people of their own greatness. And it's not prescriptive of, I'm the mentor that built a multi-million-dollar business, and I'm going to show you how to do the same thing. Just follow my roadmap. I think it's very authentic. It's an authentic expression of yourself to move toward the things that are in your heart in a way that suits you and your entire DNA of your upbringing and who you are, and just kind of what you're wired to be. And so it takes some time to pull that out and get people to take action on things. But I find coaching to be just an incredibly powerful dynamic that is way beyond consulting. And sometimes I'm unfair here too, but I just think sometimes consulting is the answer looking for the problem. It's kind of pre-scripted.
I put my camera back on, so on my little paper here, by the time I'm done with you, I have Chipisms, and I just wrote another one down, what you just said there. I'm going to riff with you on this a bit, and we'll keep going in Plato's. Are you having fun, Chip?
Oh, absolutely. Everything I expected it to be. I've been so excited to talk to you. Thank you for having me on.
Well, everybody who's watching still, it's still live people on. We're going to be launching a new segment that's going to be a lot of fun. So stay with us right till the end. We'll go a little longer today. Chip, I wrote down a note about consultants. I worked for a large corporation or telecom years ago through a merger. I've been through many mergers, some successful, some failed, etc. And the CEO of the company, he was a young guy. It was an 8 billion market cap company. And he said, and I don't want to offend consultants, but he said, if he said consultants just regurgitate information. And I started attending sessions, and consultants would put up PowerPoints and they're filled with information and stuff. And I would leave that meeting going like, okay, I'm confused. There's a lot of my brain doesn't understand all those charts, but how do I execute? And that's the big thing about what I love about you, man, and what you're doing. Is this book, everyone, and again, I don't get a piece of the revenue, but I'm high on it. When I think about how you combine coaching, which means that you can help people find their way and set goals and achieve those too, and this book and the resources you bring, this is to me about execution. A big part of your work is about, and there's something I want to do in my business, but I would connect with somebody like you easily and say, let's spend an hour together and do some coaching. But I got to get that momentum going. So congratulations on that. I think it's just fantastic. Let's throw another question out here. And then we get into macro. So we're still in mezzo, the sector. So many leaders operate with unspoken fears rooted in their personal story. We all have them. What patterns do you see in small business where identity issues masquerade as operational issues? And sometimes we call it, maybe some people might call that blind spots as well.
Yeah, that's a really powerful question. I mean, I be on my soapbox a bit that I think leadership is, I just think leadership is such a limitation to the fulfillment of that great dream that we have. I think people get started a lot of times and they see that it's working, but I've literally been in, multiple mastermind groups and different things. And you just sense that there's a fear of leading people. There's a fear of having the responsibility for people. And I think it's a gut check for a lot of businesses, really. I think, generally speaking, in small business, I think that we have a lot of creative people, technically oriented people that know how to do things. But we get back to this self-searching authenticity and their willingness to share it with others. And I think that, there's a lot in my book about bonding and connection as a powerful mass building component. And I think that when we're guarded about ourselves because we have a paradigm in mind about what it means to be in charge and to be authoritative and, demand results and that type of thing, it's a veneer on the person that makes it impossible for people to bond with them. I mean, it's like we're playing a cosplay game of somebody they saw on TV that is really, impactful and powerful. And I think as we go through life, at my age, you just realize that you gotta let all that stuff go. People will bond to your authentic self, and just being honest with yourself. It's a scary thing to be in charge. It's a scary thing to, put all your money into a business. And, I think there's just like this protective thing of like, now I have to make money and I have to be like this guy in Shark Tank, or I have to be like this or that. And the reality is it's your most authentic self that's going to be successful. And so letting go, I mean, the process of letting go of that as a small business owner is extremely difficult. I think that's why coaching can be helpful too. It's a private place to start talking about what you're noticing as you interact with people, and really to be proud of who you are as a person and share it with other people. I mean, I think that's a life skill.
Yeah, they say that. Well, I learned this in sales a long time ago, that we buy you first. And this goes back to everything you just taught us. Everybody, teaching moment here with Chip. Come back, watch, listen to this. But it's your authentic self. And I know that's just words sometimes to people, but it really does matter. I buy you first. Before, and if you look in my studio, I'm just going to have some fun pointing a few artifacts. You see there's a couple masks around on the floor there. See those masks I'm pointing?
Yep.
In my own doctorate degree, I just finished this. I'm waiting for my exam, actually, so there's a lot going on. And I dug into the world of identity. And I sometimes will hold up one of those masks. I do speaking with them, and I put it over here, and I say, "This is the mask of the CEO, the persona," and I take it off.
That's awesome, Tom. I love that.
Yeah, man. And I want to go deep with you and just share this, because I don't share it publicly as much. But I did a TED Talk, and I'm not saying that for bragging. It was one of the honors of my life. And it was like I got shortlisted and declined twice before I finally got it. The first time was because of my health. I fell on my head and couldn't really deal with it. The second time, my dad had passed away and his funeral overlapped. But I remember the feedback I got was this. I had a coach who actually was at the TED thing, and the organizer came up to me quietly, said, "There's something there in you we want to hear." And then he says this. He goes, "No," I said, "Give me some feedback like a coach would." He says, "We don't care about your books. We don't care about your CEO title. We want to know who you are." Now, Chip, this was 2019 when I did the TED Talk. That cracked me wide open, man. And that began the journey of me discovering and some of the neural adaptations we make. And you know this, that when somebody has missing knowledge and information about themselves, like why am I shy? Why am I quiet? Why am I this? The brain makes up stories, neural adaptations, and then we go through life. So just on your point, and this brought me to this, riffing with you, that there's business owners I've worked with, one hired me on contract, that would almost bankrupt their company every 5 years. They would get it to a level here and then basically do dumb things and bring it down here. What we found out by psychology is that way back this is a true story, way back when this guy was a kid, he wanted to be a painter. He painted, and he told me the story. He gave it to his dad. His dad said, "Don't waste your time." He threw it away. And he had a single thought in his brain unconsciously that played, "I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough." And he self-sabotaged his business. He literally got it here because he couldn't accept the success because he thought there was something wrong with him. And so I think this is a big part of some of the stuff in your book about understanding your strengths and weaknesses. And the last piece of that you said was, how do you lead other people? Well, a guy like that, and I'll finish on this, give it back to you to talk about, a guy like that couldn't lead people because he couldn't see him. They couldn't see him truly, and he didn't think he was good enough. So he was afraid of actually leading his company. Tell me what you think.
That's, it's hitting a little too close to home for me, honestly, for where I am right now in the genesis of the Bizzics brand, that, we're not aware of what we carry forward, but it haunts us.
Sure.
It's so deeply embedded.
Yeah.
And I think that, without getting, TMI, sharing too much here about my own personal story, I think what's relevant.
No, by the way, this is a safe space. It's the way we do. You can share anything.
I mean, it's every day. I mean, the kind of, shame and disappointments and things, they never leave you. I mean, it's like everybody is limping in some way from their life. Yeah. And you just don't know when it's going to pop up. You hope it's not at the worst possible time. But I think the relevance to the book, or the connection to the book, is that when we talk, so we've got an energy field that's kind of underlying this mass and velocity. Yeah. Velocity is a vector, so it requires a direction, a distance, and a time frame or speed, and all that sounds great. Like we can chart that. Like I want to be the class president, or I want to be whatever it is. I'm going to have it in 5 years. I'm going to be a lawyer, whatever it is. And the third chapter in the book is about net force. And it's the fact that we navigate in a violent world. And I don't mean physical violence. I just mean that it's a tough world. I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening that we don't like. It's not what we planned, and so there's a lot in there about business planning and how much can you plan for. But I didn't really get into this in the book because I felt like it would be maybe crossing the line into too much psychology. But we are the biggest limiting forces that we have. When you think about what are the obstacles that are going to be a headwind to me being successful at this, most of it is self-imposed about who we think we are. I mean, what is our opinion of ourselves? And I went through 8 years of therapy. I wish my therapist were still alive. I'd still be going to him, but he had a very, very unfortunate and early, just a tragic death.
Oh, I'm sorry for that.
All that's to say is that work built in me enough self-worth that I felt like I was worth the risk.
Absolutely.
I think that we have to feel like we're worthy of the dreams that we have. It's like, it's just, you can be watching TV and have the same result. Like, if you don't believe in it, and that's really heavy lifting. There's no one that can do it except you. I mean, it's not like,
Totally.
you're going to build an app to get pickup service or whatever. It's like, you're just working on yourself.
For sure.
And I would just lay that out there about, the timing of it, the fitness of a person for entrepreneurship, and that they're totally bought in and believing in themselves and willing to go the distance. And, there's a lot of costs along the way that are not financial.
Yes.
And I think the idea of letting go of prior versions of yourself and being able to say that happened in 1984, but this isn't 1984. Like, I'm a completely different person. It's a very powerful part of being an entrepreneur. Really, anything you're aspirational about in your life, you are going to be the biggest limiting factor that you have is your own psychology about who you are, man.
Yeah, I totally believe that. Everyone, teaching moments here with Chip Higgins. You see in the back there again, my favorite, Mr. Brain, I call him, and he's a replica of a brain. I bought him, he comes apart, and I take him when I go speaking too. And I learned this through what you said is really key. Everyone, I think you need to reach out to someone like Chip, because Chip, I think, we've weaved the story here so well about you, that it was your Chip about yourself that you unraveled. By the way, the thing about therapy, I think it's awesome. I tell people today, I still have a psychiatrist because of my brain injury, but my biggest regret is I didn't have a counselor in my life, in my care team before. Mm-hmm. When I was a CEO, it was pressure at the top, and I did that role for a decade. And I was crumbling inside, melting emotionally into this puddle because of the pressure. I think you should have a psychiatrist or a psychologist on your care team. And you should have a coach. And that's why I think the work you're doing is incredible, because everyone, if you listen to what Chip just said, Chip, if what you just told me, if that was you talking about me, my limitations, these deep-seated untruths that I was carrying, I could never get to them without having a mirror and somebody across from me like you.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's one of the blessings about the work that you're doing and the book there. Let's go back into Plato's and give you the last question here before we take a bit of a turn to do something fun with you. I'm going to go into macro, which, remember, this is like the global influences. Where do you see friction increasing in our world today? And what does that mean for entrepreneurs navigating uncertainty?
Wow. That's a really powerful question, Tom. I think that, in the book, I say that, and I think everybody would accept this as true if you think about it. There's a certain level of friction that's positive. We've got a goal to get to the mailbox, and our feet stick to the front yard as we're walking across it. We're glad for friction at some level.
Yeah.
But I think that I used to really believe that, like momentum, that the world was normally distributed, and I used to believe, like, if you turn the Earth on the side, you'd probably see like a bell curve. It's like it's just such a powerful statistical dynamic, that you look at. And I just used to believe that we were all just a little bit apart from each other. We were basically the same. I think some of my international travels have shown me a human heart that's universal. But it's a strange thing that I feel like our world is, I couldn't tell you the right statistical term, but we're not normally distributed. We have some kind of weird bubble at the ends of the spectrum where differences are more important than the commonality that we have.
Wow.
I have, there, John Maxwell is like the master of the takeaway rhyme acronym, I mean, whatever, he speaks very poetically about so many things. And there are a few that have stuck with me. And one of my favorites of his is the 101% rule. And basically the 101% rule says our goal in life is to find the 1% we have in common and give it 100% of our effort. And
that's a great saying.
That's not what I'm finding.
Yeah. No.
I don't know how it is in Canada. I just feel like
no,
I know how it is here in the U.S. and I keep up with Europe a little bit.
Sure.
And I just feel like there's something that we're proud of being different and not seeking that place where we're all the same. I don't.
Yeah, no, it's not different. Canada, I mean, my audience is international, so we got you in America, Canada, and we have Europe watching in at times. Just going to put the book on the screen here and read. So you're talking about friction. I like to bring the book up because the guy talks about what he wrote about everyone. He's authentic. Chapter 7. You're lucky because a lot of times I'll say, okay, you're going to now do an author reading live. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'll read it because I don't want to do that today. But it says friction is present in virtually every circumstance, yet we don't really appreciate its usefulness until we no longer have it. That is so profound. And I'm just going to go back to something you said. Listen, Canada is struggling with in immigration in one way. We have for years opened our gates and let people flow through our country. But when I grew up as a kid, I was born on a military base in England. My parents were born in Fiji Islands. My grandparents are from India. Okay. Come here when I was about 6. My father did one thing well that I thought before he left me when I was 12 for various reasons, but he taught us to assimilate. So come into the country and go hang out with white people, not just people with your color skin. Learn the language, go get a job. And it's not about the color of your skin or anything. It's about meritocracy. It's about doing your best, never expecting handouts. And so we assimilated in my career, and my life is built around all the cultures in my country. We have, unfortunately, the fabric of our nation's changing because we're seeing people coming from different parts, and I love all people, but they stay in their little bubbles, and then comes with it some of the not so nice things that they bring from their other countries, where they come from maybe war-torn countries or countries that don't have rights and law and order and things like that. They're angry still, and then that seeps out into social media and all over the place. And I'm telling you, man, what you said is such a great comment. If we can just find the one thing we have in common, focus on that and go and assimilate. Go to your neighbors, even if they look different. And I know I'm on my soapbox, but find that one thing in common and start up a conversation. So we just love having you here to riff on this. Did you know you were getting a book review today? Did you know that?
No, but I'm always happy for one.
All right, so I'm gonna jump in and honor you here. We're still going strong here. I'm gonna share a screen, and this is where you get to catch your breath and just let me share with you. I'm just going to pull it up here. Okay, tell me if you see that on the screen there.
I see it. There it is.
Now we'll have this permanently in the production, but it's by design to promote your book. But I've done a review. So first of all, what are we looking at here? This is the Audible. So I listened to the audiobook, obviously, and I love it. And so you can go to Audible in whatever country. You see the book there. You can hit play. You can actually hear a preview about the book. And so I'm going to reveal to you now a 5-star review.
Oh man, thank you so much.
All right, so you just sit back and let me read it to you. This is on the audio, and by the way, I'm bragging. It's the first one on the audio, so it's your first international review. Check. All right, so here we go. I'm looking at another screen here. The Bizzics Way surprised me. I expected another business playbook. What I found instead was a deeply human framework disguised as physics. Chip Higgins has taken the forces that shaped our world and translated them into forces that shape our lives. Mass, momentum, friction, energy, direction, the invisible things we carry. And he does it with a clarity that leaders at any stage can absorb. What I appreciated most is that this book is honest. It does not pretend success is linear. It does not hide the emotional realities behind running a business or leading people. It gives language to the pressures we carry and shows how to channel them instead of letting them bury us. The narrator made listening enjoyable and energetic. Chip writes like a man who has reclaimed his voice after losing it. His teaching is grounded in lived experience, not theory. And the physics metaphor works because it reflects something we often forget. Human beings are systems. When you shift the forces into a system, everything changes. For any entrepreneur, small business owner, or leader who wants momentum without burning themselves down, this is a must read. Accessible, smart, and surprisingly soulful. I highly recommend it. Congratulations.
That's really beautiful.
Are you crying yet?
I'm Irish. We just cry all the time. Thank you so much. It was really.
No, you're welcome.
Really, very, very
No, you're
powerful
welcome.
things that you said. I'm very grateful for that.
Well, I mean it. And again, I read the book from cover to cover and listened to it. But everyone, cool thing to do when you get an author book that has an audio version, listen and read it. Look at the physical, but listen at the same time. It blows your mind, the experience. It's just incredible. And you use more senses. All right. So now that we've done that, we're going to remove that. We didn't remove that off the screen. And I have... I think I have one more question that I'll ask you, but we're going to now do something brand new, and it's a brand new segment for the show. We're going to do that. So everybody, we're going on longer today, so stay with us. I got Chip's permission. Never done this before. And then we'll wrap up with another question and final word from you, Chip. So you still good to go?
Yeah, just
boundless energy, right?
I have no idea what's about to happen for anybody that's listening.
Okay, good. All right. So while I'm looking for a sound effect here on my board, just tell everybody what was the hardest thing about writing a book.
The clarity.
Yeah.
I think the clarity, but I don't want to beat a dead horse. There was a point I finished the last review before publishing.
Yeah.
And I did cry. It's like,
oh, it's awesome.
There's something about the danger of putting your story out there, something that you think is authentic, and
totally.
Once being excited about it, but also being afraid to share it. I mean, it's a highly emotional experience to write a book.
Yeah, cool. Congrats for doing that, man, because there's a lot of people I've met in business particularly who absolutely don't get it, that if you share your authentic story, people actually will connect to you, and they won't do it and they don't write a book. So that's their loss. All right, we're going to get into what I am going to get my paper out here. So I have to prepare a little script. Okay. So this will be all edited and tidied. And by the way, this show, unlike going in a studio and taping where you have to wait for release, Chip, this is accessible. So as soon as we're done, it'll be there for you everywhere to watch right away with your amazing wife and your friends. Share it out.
I've loved our conversation, Tom. I can't wait to share it with people. It's been fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, me too. Okay. So let me just, okay, we're going to start this. If I hit the wrong button, you're going to kill me. Oh my gosh. I just got to get my PowerPoint up here. Okay, there it is. All right. Okay, Chip. So you just follow my cue, okay? 3, 2, 1.
Love that. Space, the final frontier.
All right. Hey, that's awesome. So, Chip, for the last 7 years, this show has been about diving deep into the unscripted narrative of leadership. And for the next 5 minutes or so, we're going to put our high-tech co-pilots to work in a segment we call the Cassandra Engine.
Oh, my God.
So, Chip, let me explain this to you in the audience. So Cassandra was a Greek prophetess who spoke the truth, but no one believed her. Our engine pulls truth from 2 sources, the global prediction markets and artificial intelligence. We want to see if our conventional wisdom holds up against the data. So now what I'm going to do, let me just turn another button on here. Just tell me if you can you hear that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is that too loud?
No.
Okay, so we're going to keep that in the background there. A little funky. All right, so I'm going to share a screen now. This is real-time unfolding, everybody. Never done this segment before. And so bear with me. We're going to share, stop share, and I'm going to share another screen. So sharing screen, and we'll go to, where is it there? This one here. All right, what you're looking at on the screen here is Polymarket. Have you heard of Polymarket before?
I haven't, no.
All right, Polymarket. This is, Chip, where traders go to wager money on future events. It's the largest platform, I believe, in the world. Since we're in December 2025, I'm going to be talking about a big economic question for the year 2026. Now, what's kind of fun is, I know it's small there to look at, but this is live. So Polymarket itself is for wagers and betting. But I'm going to just make a disclaimer. We're not exchanging money or betting or gambling, and I'm not giving any advice here. I was watching a podcast a while ago, Chip, and I won't mention the one, it's an American one that's quite well watched. And they were saying that some people use Polymarket to deal with misinformation and disinformation. Now think about this. It's really cool, I think. If you follow the money where people are betting, and a lot of bettors who wager, they do a lot of research, and they will place their bets on sure things or things that are quite well researched. So Polymarket actually is another tool, another data point for critical thinking. If you can see up here where my mouse is pointing, it says, where will it snow this December? I actually asked Polymarket that, and it came up with all these percentages. So apparently Boston is 97% that it'll snow in December. And so you can see all the different wagers there. So we're going to put a question in here, and here's the big question that we're going to use today, and that is, hold on a second. How many Federal Reserve rate cuts will there be in 2026? Okay, so I'm just going to put that in there. So you see me typing there? You see that? Mm-hmm. It's a little small. So how many? Many. There it is. So I'm going to click on that, 2026. Look at that. So real time, what we're seeing there is what people are betting on for rate cuts, the Federal Reserve. Now up here, we would have the Bank of Canada. So check out where my mouse is, that the 25%, I'm going to expand that. So 25% of bettors, and there's $43,000 being waged on this right now, and it changes, are saying that there'll be 75 basis points or 3 rate cuts in 2026. Okay. So that's what the betting market is. So if you think about the data here, people are betting on that because of what they're researching and what they're seeing and what they're thinking. So let me just ask you, hold on a second. Okay, let me remove that from the screen. Okay, so now back to you, Chip. So a 25% probability for 3 rate cuts in 2026. That's the market's current take on inflation, recession risk, ultimately affordability. So Chip, is this probability too aggressive, too cautious, or is it exactly what your small to medium clients are bracing for? I mean, what does this market sentiment tell an entrepreneur about their customers' purchasing power next year? Just we're getting your opinions here and your thoughts.
I think it's a little on the conservative side. I think we'll have a change in the Fed chair, and I think it will be at least 4, in my opinion. Okay, interesting. And so with 4 rate cuts, okay, so thanks for your thoughts on that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to stop sharing screen, and we're going to do something to add on to this. So like physics, it doesn't quite appear where we're headed until a little bit, so just bear with us. All right. So what we're going to do is take an AI engine. So let me just put something else on the screen here. Share screen. And I'm going to put up Google Gemini. Okay. So you see Google Gemini is up on the screen. Now, don't worry about what's written there, but AI, everyone, I don't know if you used what you use, but
ChatGPT, Google Gemini just came out. It's pretty awesome. I use 3 large language models. That's what these are. And they basically aggregate information using mathematics. It's another way of critical thinking. You can put data in. What's fun is before you came on, Chip, I asked Google Gemini, if you can see the screen, it says, does the color yellow have any significance in the field of physics? And it gave me a whole bunch of cool things.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Because I was trying to figure out why the hell did he make his book yellow? And now I get it. That was very cool. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go up into and we're going to actually prompt Google Gemini with what we just found out. Okay. So just hold on a minute. I'm going to take a prompt. I wrote this prompt just to keep it moving forward here quickly. All right. So you're going to see me paste something in the chat. So I'm going to go up to the box there. You see where my mouse is? We're going to paste that in there. Okay. So can you read that out loud? Is it too small or can you read it?
It says Polymarket suggests a 25% chance of 3 Fed rate cuts in 2026. Write a 3-point strategy for a U.S. small to medium enterprise entrepreneur to best financially navigate the specific probability to protect profit margins and maintain client affordability.
Way to go. Your eyes did my work. So now what we're going to do, so this is our co-pilot. We're going to put this question into AI and see what it comes up with. So stand by. All right. It's thinking real time. All right. I'm going to just read this and have some fun with it. This is what Gemini says. It says that's a useful piece of market intelligence. A 25% probability suggests that while the base case may be different, there is a significant non-trivial chance of 3 rate cuts, etc. Here's your 3-point financial strategy for a U.S. small to medium enterprise. Okay, 3-point strategy. So this is where I want you just to lean in and focus a little bit, Chip, because I'm going to ask you your comment about it. Number 1, optimize debt and borrowing costs to protect your profit margins. The primarily benefit of a rate cutting cycle is reduction in the cost of capital. So there's one example. Second strategy could be strategic inventory and capital expenditure, planning, maintain affordability and growth. A rate cutting cycle often suggests the Fed is encouraging investment and growth. Lower borrowing costs will make future capital more affordable. So things like delay non-essential capex, use savings to enhance client value for affordability, etc. Strategy 3, fortify cash management and working capital. A 25% chance of 3 cuts suggests the economy uncertainty remains a factor. You need to ensure your liquidity is robust, regardless of which way the economy turns. Focus on accounts receivable, lock in deposit rates now, etc. And so I'm going to take that off the screen and we'll finish off with this. So Chip, the Cassandra engine has spoken. It presented a market probability, 25% of 3 rate cuts next year for the Fed. And AI delivered a 3-point strategy focusing on the U.S. small medium market. So from your perspective, what's the best piece of advice in that? Anything you saw in that strategy or any comment, what is the one vital piece of real world advice you would add or change for a business owner right now, given that probability ahead?
I think 2 of them are combined. I just think that when it talks about borrowing and lower rates, what we're really ought to be talking about is rebalancing your liabilities to longer term debt. When you have the opportunity for a longer fixed rate, you should take it if it's kind of toward the trough of the market.
Yeah.
And effectively what that does is increase your working capital. The way a balance sheet is built, if you're moving things into long-term debt, it relieves a little pressure on short-term cash and that type of thing. So always preserve cash, always build cash. That's an ongoing thing. So that's the second part of that last one. But I think it's a great opportunity to kind of recast the capital structure that you have and give yourself a little bit of breathing room.
Okay, awesome. Great insights from Chip Higgins here. So Chip, just between you and I, what was the experience like using some of those advanced tools and doing a little critical?
I love it. You know, I've got an agent for my book called Bizzics on Demand. It's an AI assisted tool where people have a contextualized experience with the book. And I just think there's so much opportunity for small business owners. You know, you can have a C-level group around you without having giving up ownership interest in your company. I mean, you know, where would you get that kind of advice? I mean, it's stuff to think about. I think all you need is some good people to bounce it off and see what they're doing. So I think AI is a boon for small business.
Wow, I love that. What's that thing you just told, AI tool for your book? How do you access that?
On my website, Bizzics.com, if you go, there's a section, it's like /Bizzics-on-demand.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I've had it for about 6 months now. And
did you build that? Did you have that built for you, or I'm just curious?
Yeah, I worked with a vendor in Austin, Texas called Expert Loop. They work with authors. Yeah. And I just love that idea of, like, you know, you can buy the book or you know, for a pretty low subscription cost compared to coaching. You know, you can have something accessible 24/7 with, you know,
that is amazing.
Upload an article and talk to it about it. And it's all going to be in the spirit of business momentum. I mean, that's how it's trained.
Wow. Yeah, hold up your book one more time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. Get my
there it is.
Best presentation here, the Bizzics Way.
We're gonna do it in stereo. There it is.
Yeah, yours is shinier than mine. I need to swap out my bookshelf version.
Yeah, you're slacking. I think what happened was the journey into Canada, we picked up some of that dust. Yeah. But on that, that's a nugget I didn't know. So everyone, as we're getting close to the end of the show here, I want to thank you. We still have people watching live, which is remarkable. We're at almost an hour and 20 minutes. That piece you just said, another example of how well packaged. You talk about strategy of an author putting out a book to help people. That engine, and I'm going to talk to you about it because I'm interested in having something like that. Definitely. But that's all part of the great stuff here that Chip Higgins is providing us. So get his book and give it a review, because authors' work doesn't get known until we post reviews, everyone. And so now I'm going to ask you the last question before we move to honoring you with an award. And that is, we call this the Warrior's Torch. This is the last segment, and that's where the last guest left a question for you. And Chip, we'll be getting one from you offline. You can email it to me for the next guest.
We're paying it forward in the Starbucks line here. Right?
Yeah, totally. And you may have covered some of this, but this is an example of what I guess would ask you, embellish it or whatever. Is there an event or experience that unexpectedly changed the course of your career? Go.
Gosh, unexpectedly, I worked in banking.
That could be the answer.
Yeah.
Or let's throw a curveball in there. The moment you decided I got to go build Bizzics, that was a career turn. What was the event? What do you think triggered that in you? What was that one single thought, or what was going on that made that happen?
The culmination of 8 years of therapy. I think,
okay, there it is.
I think that was that belief.
Awesome. Hey, to our last guest, thank you for the question. That is a deep answer, man, that everybody can learn from. So congratulations. And now we're going to honor you with an award. Did you know you're getting one?
No, I had no idea. Hope it's a prestigious award.
You'll soon
got
tell
the
me.
Christmas story out now. Is it a leg lamp?
Oh my God! Now this thing looks cheap. This thing looks cheap compared to what you just said. All right, let's put the thing back on the screen here. So, have you heard of challenge coins?
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
Awesome. So, for the sake of the audience, I always explain it. It comes in a little package as a sleeve here. The manufacturer is in the U.S., Canada. And so the history, I'm just reading this. Challenge coins surfaced during World War I era. Practice of carrying a coin designed specifically for a unit was popular with the Army Special Forces, carrying the coin at all times, presenting it when challenged. To prove affiliation with the unit, it resulted in a number of consequences for those who couldn't produce it. Most popular required the coinless soldier to buy a round of drinks. And that apparently still happens today. These are carried by first responders. Organizations around the world have developed theirs. When I started the show, I vet hard, as you know. I don't let people on easily. I wanted to find people who turned something in their life, challenges into something that making it global impact. So you are in the 1%, sir, in terms of those
Tom,
people.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm honored by that. Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So this is it. It's hand painted and crafted, fairly hefty. The front of it is the emblem of the show and a few words, and you can see there's a guy in a leather jacket. That's kind of my look.
Yeah, I see that.
But the back of it, and I'm biased, but it is so intricate. It's the hero's journey narrative by Joseph Campbell's work.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
About how we go. Yeah. How we go and seek and then
yeah.
come back and we teach. That's built. The show is built on that narrative. So, congratulations.
Well, thank you, Tom. It really means a lot to me. It means a lot that you took me on and had me as a guest today. I feel really uplifted by our conversation today.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm very proud of you and all your work, and you stand for something. So we're going to let you have the last word. Anything you haven't said that you want to say to the audience, maybe where they can find your stuff, anything at all?
Yeah, I think, the Bizzics.com site is great. I have a personal site, chiphiggins.com, for speaking and workshops and that type of thing around the book, if you want to position your company for that. And, the agent is amazing. It's a 7-day free trial. I just give it a shot for kicks and see what that's like. But I think, my biggest message is, do keep moving. P equals MV is that's the momentum equation. And I just encourage whoever you are listening, there's something on your heart that you've been thinking about. And it's a spiritual faith walk to go from potential energy to kinetic and start moving toward it. But I think that is the hero's journey. Capturing that part of ourself is it's just, that's what life is, going for it. So please take the next step on it.
That's what life is. It's accessible. His book, his website, and life is about going for it. So everyone, find that true purpose, like you've heard from Chip a lot today, and find your true passion, but live the life that you deserve and the life that you desire. We'll see you all next week on the Quiet Warrior Show. Chip, it's been an absolute honor and a lot of fun, man.
Tom, thank you. For me too.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to the Quiet Warrior Show. Create is a motive-based leadership development firm. www.kreat.ca.
Okay, just stand by, Chip. We're going to take it offline here. And somebody actually put a heart on the show. They put a little heart.
It's probably my wife.
I hope so. It could have been a skull and crossbones.